Good afternoon and welcome back to my channel, One Step at a Time Farmstead. Today we are diving into a bit of a hot topic currently playing itself out in South Africa. And that is, should Afrikaners in South Africa take advantage of President Trump's offer to apply for refugee status in the USA? Now, normally I steer away clear from political discussions on this channel, but being directly impacted as part of the Boere folk demographic in South Africa, also known as the Afrikaner, and most of our viewers being from the USA, I believe it is necessary to address this issue and to share my perspective on these matters. Let's look at the background leading up to President Trump's executive order and explore the pros and cons together and address the ongoing debate between the Afrikaners amongst each other as well as other ethnic groups in South Africa. To give a bit of background, President Donald Trump issued an executive order on February the 7th, 2025, titled Addressing Egregious Actions of the Republic of South Africa, which granted refugee status to Afrikaners, citing concerns over racial discrimination and land expropriation without compensation in South Africa. The order was based on allegations that the South African government was discriminating against Afrikaners, particularly through the recently signed into action land expropriation without compensation law by President Cyril Ramaphosa. As well as the race-based, broad-based Black Economic Empowerment or BBBEE laws implemented in South Africa over the past 30 years. Trump's administration argued that these laws were racially motivated and targeted white South Africans. The executive order instructed the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security to prioritize the resettlement of Afrikaners through the U.S. Refugee Admissions Program.
Well, I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate, every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta.
This move was part of a broader effort to offer humanitarian relief to Afrikaners who were considered victims of unjust racial discrimination. Recently, this has sparked a lot of debate and interest among the Afrikaner community. Certain political parties like the DA, Democratic Alliance, and Freedom Front, and civil rights organizations like AfriForum responded to President Trump's executive order and declined his offer. For decades, patriotic activists worked hard to gain international attention to the blatant discrimination, violent attacks, farm murders, and the systematic eradication of the farmers and Boere folk of South Africa, the Afrikaner. And now that the world is finally taking notice, these political parties downplay the seriousness of the situation in South Africa, as well as the implications of the race-based laws implemented by the ANC government. This again causes damage and brings discredit to the work that so many have done through the years to bring attention to the injustices committed in South Africa against a minority white population. I, for one, state clearly that these parties and organizations do not speak for me or my family, nor have they ever been mandated to do so. And I know a lot of my compatriots, a lot of Afrikaners who feel exactly the same way. So let us quickly discuss some of the challenges and discrimination faced by Afrikaners in South Africa. Number one, land expropriation. The recent land expropriation laws in South Africa have raised concerns among Afrikaners, particularly those involved in farming. These laws allow the government to seize land without compensation, which has led to fears of losing property and livelihoods. Secondly, farm murders. Over the past 30 years, there have been numerous reports of violent attacks and murders targeting farmers. Farm attacks and farm murders in South Africa are often accompanied by horrific acts of violence, including rape and torture. These crimes are not only brutal, but also deeply traumatizing for the victims and their families, creating a climate of fear and insecurity among the Afrikaner community. Please watch the following clip and take note that every single white cross represents a life lost during a farm attack. And then there is also testimonials of some survivors of these farm attacks. And I just want to warn that some of these testimonials might be offensive to sensitive viewers. But unfortunately, that is the reality of farm attacks.
Kill a man! Shoot to kill! Amazon! Kill the poor! The farmer!
Kichima! Simran Konto Alliance! Shoot to kill! Amazon! Kill the poor! The farmer! Kill the poor! The farmer! Brr, pa! Pa! Brr, pa! Pa! Attention!
Threw me here, and okay, before I hit the ground they started hitting me and said, today we're going to kill you, you fucking white bastard. So they threw me there. I fell in my father's blood. I just saw my father's blood and ammunition of the guns that they took out of the safe.
You were lying in your father's blood?
Yeah.
You knew?
They did something to my father. I thought he was already dead.
Bernard then had a horrible realization. He could hear the car with his wife and children pulling into the drive.
So my oldest son, they always have a game to check who's first at the front door. So he got out and he ran to the front door to be there first. My wife opened the garage door and they grabbed her. And when they grabbed her, he was running that way, and one of them got out and took a shot into the wall there.
They just shot at him?
Yeah.
After the attackers had left, leaving in a rush and sparing Bernard, his wife and their children after being spooked by shouting from the neighbours. Bernard went to aid his father.
I found my father's blood. Yeah.
In here?
Yeah, they threw him down here. I think they didn't...
Just here?
Yeah, just here. I think they didn't tie him up properly because they thought he's already dead. They put him there so nobody can see him because it was a lot of blood for the wound on the head. He came loose somehow. He went to the kitchen and got a cloth.
A cloth
to try to stop the bleeding. Then from there he was out to get us loose, and it was about 10 minutes after he loosened us that he said no, that he went and lied down. And yeah, he died here, but they say he died in town, but he was already, they struggled with him to get his heart going again for a long time.
Love hurt so very badly. One of Marietta's workers, Miriam, came to her aid after she was shot in the face.
Yeah, and on the day I was shot, I drove up to down there nearby her house, and then I called her, I showed her son, he came to me, he was bringing money to me for me to buy some tomatoes for her. And then he saw, and I said, you must go and call her, you know.
This was when your face
When I was shot, the same
After
day.
your face was
Yeah,
shot,
the same day.
you were driving?
I had to. And then she came to the car and I told her to get on the bakkie. And we drove to the tar road. Her son took over then. He was able to drive. And then I was sitting next to him.
With your...
Yeah, it was just blood.
Just hold a towel or...?
No.
Nothing, because you didn't know?
No, I didn't. You know, I was in such pain. I don't know what happened.
Or where you were?
Afterwards, she went to the tar road again where I was standing. And she took the blood and she buried it there. Where I was standing, it was just blood. And then I wrote on a box my brother's phone number and his daughter's and the friends at Plattsburgh. And she stopped the car. And she asked for somebody to help us to phone. And it was a police guy. And he gave the phone to her. And she spoke to my brother and said, you must come. I was shot.
And what do you think about what she's been through? How do you feel about what she's been through?
Buhlungu nakimi ngoba mina ufana noma wami nodadewethu. Sikadana sobabili. Nami nangigula nguye noma ngilambile uyangenzela ukudla. Nami nayigula ubhakwa yimi. Manje kwakubuhlungu kimi.
I alive for my kids and my grandchildren and my husband.
So you decided to let him
do whatever he wants to do, yeah.
And what happened next?
Well, yeah, then I asked him, where do you want to do it? And he said to me, somewhere outside here. I said, excuse me? No, I don't think so. Everybody else here, the other two guys is watching us, so I'm not going to let you do this to me here. I've got back problems. As it is now, I can't stand too long.
No.
So I have to sit all the time. So he said, yeah, okay, let's go into the room. And he said, yeah, he wants to do it doggy style. Okay, let's go into that. So we tried and he couldn't do it. And he said to me, yeah, I must turn on my back, lie on the bed. And then, yeah, then he started raping me.
And how long did that go on for? How long were you raped for?
About an hour. About an hour. Because he raped me first, and then he walked out, and then another guy coming in, and he raping me, and then he goes out, and then the last one come in.
So all three of them?
All three of them, yeah.
And I've spoken to other people who've been involved with these rapes, and they say that they like to take their time. Do you think that's...
Oh yes, yeah, no, they do like it. They wasn't in a hurry to go anywhere. Because they knew the police is gone. So why will they be in a hurry to go away?
And your husband is just in the room next door?
My husband is in the room, yeah, still tied up. Now, I just keep quiet because I know if I'm going to make any sound or try to fight them, they will shoot me and they will go inside and kill my husband as well. So I decided not to do anything. Let them do what they want to do.
You guys cannot understand. You know, you live with the animals every day. To see them living like this and killing it the way they kill it. Not even a lion, it doesn't kill another animal like that. I spent millions on this place and they brought it down to the ground. I was employing 50 people. I employ only one now. Why? Why? I haven't bothered anybody. I didn't steal anything. I brought the money here from overseas to invest it here in 45 years of the best years of my life. Now I'm 73 with a lot of health elements, and I'm like that.
Between the kitchen and the scullery, I saw Johnny push somebody out the scullery door outside. And I immediately realized there was something wrong. And there was only one thought that came to mind, and that was to get my revolver. So I ran to the safe. On my way to the safe, I heard 2 more gunshots. Got my gun out of the safe, my revolver out of the safe, and I was busy getting it out of its holster when this guy stood next to me with a pistol in his hands. And then I knew I was also in trouble because I couldn't shoot. The revolver was still in the holster. He took the holster from me, and then he said to me, "Where's the money?" I said to him, "We don't have money in the house." And he said to me, "I will shoot you." Now you must remember that I got quite scared then, because I don't think he was trained to handle a gun. And a person who isn't trained in handling a gun is quite dangerous, I think. Then my son came to us, and then this guy said to my son and myself, "Come." And he took us down the passage into my son's room, to the spare bedroom. He looked into both bedrooms. There was nothing that he wanted. So we came all the way back, and he went back to the safe. And as he went to the safe, and he stood there in front, I walked to get the remote of the alarm. Luckily, he didn't see me, and I was able to press the panic button. And as soon as he heard the panic button, he ran. Obviously, there was somebody waiting for him outside, and they left with Johnny's pickup truck. Definitely shot at close range. The gun must have been almost next to his head. The bullet entered his head just above his right eye, and it came out here on the left side of his neck. Yeah, and I mean, obviously he was out of it for a while.
And well, Johnny's sitting here today. He looks like a normal, healthy man. So it's truly a miracle.
On the one farm, I stayed on another farm. So she took the kids and they went home. It was about 6:30, 6:45. And I tried to phone her between then and about 7:30 when I finished working. She didn't answer, but she never answered the phone, so I didn't really pay any attention to it. And I left the house and I took my pickup and I was driving towards our house. And you go down a gravel road and then you get on the tar road and then you get on another gravel road. And as I'm coming down to the tar road, I could see a bakkie making a U-turn and going back on the tar road. And when I got onto the road, I could see their silhouettes in the road. And I thought, I probably didn't see right. And when I got closer, I could see as the 2 kids, they were 5 and 3 years old at that stage. Luckily, there was an old and take the kids to the farm where I came from where the dairy is, because their grandparents are there. So I was on my way.
Just use the handheld mic just in case.
And I went to my house. When I got there, the gate was closed and everything looked pretty normal. As I went into the house, there was no break-ins, no doors were broken or nothing. So
Sorry, so you went to the house and you saw the children already outside.
I got the children were far from the house. They started walking back towards me, back to the place where I was working.
What time was that?
It was about 8, 8:15 at night. It was still already dark. It was April. And when I got to the house, I went inside. You don't know if the guys are still there or if they've left. And when I looked down the hallway, I could see my wife. I could only see the backside because the first shot, they shot her in the neck. But I think that was she must have died on this, immediately. And she was there sitting on her knees, lying against the door frame. And then while she was sitting there, I think they shot her another shot just above the ear. But the first one was in here and it came out the back here at the top, so she was, I think she just fell, but she was on her knees, as I said. Yeah, that was it. I tried to do some CPR on her, but obviously it didn't work. And then I phoned my brother-in-law and I phoned the neighbors, and they started arriving, and my father-in-law and his wife and the kids, they arrived, and then all the other farmers and people started coming.
You cannot comprehend to start to say what emotionally, physically, financially traumatized and bruised a family can be left. We got the call. My brother came, and on our way to the farm, we got another call saying that my dad was also brutally murdered. Now, people, you cannot believe. We've just actually, in a short while, we got through this thing of my aunt. Then suddenly again, I was going to stay with my dad. So how did I fall apart? Got into the farm. We actually asked the people, can they just keep my dad? I want to see him. When we got there, I think it was about 80 farmers there with the police. And I rushed into the house where this happened. When you see your dear family's blood being shedded all over, you can see parts of flesh that's on the step. I've asked him to see, can I have a look at my dad? And I said, please don't look at your dad. You're very, very sensitive, and I'll advise you not to go and have a look, because his whole body, his whole head has been mutilated. I can tell you, like you can see, nothing can ever be the same. Nothing.
And farm attacks increased. But what happened then was in June that year, the FIFA World Cup, the Soccer World Cup started, and it was hosted in South Africa. And there's a graph on that in my book as well, but where farm attacks or farm murders just stopped completely for an entire month during the Soccer World Cup, which was of course an event where the South African government tried to portray South Africa as a fantastic tourist destination and people should come to South Africa and it's a safe country and all the stories about the crime isn't true. For the whole Soccer World Cup, there was no farm murders. And then you could say, I spoke to a statistician about this recently who said, yes, but there aren't that many per month, so it might just be an anomaly, it might just be accidental, that incidentally there were no farm murders during the World Cup. But what makes it more interesting or more striking is the fact that during that time, if you evaluate the statements made by the South African government about farm murders, during that decade there were roughly 2 farm attacks every day in South Africa and about 2 farm murders every week, almost 2 farm murders every week. So despite the fact that it happened in a time frame where there were about 2 farm attacks every day, during the Soccer World Cup, which took place over an entire month, there were 2 farm attacks in total in that entire month, and it wasn't very serious farm attacks. So the point is not to say that someone necessarily gave an instruction that this has to stop. It might be that, a lot of people seem to believe that, but something happened during the Soccer World Cup in 2010. And whatever happened and whatever the contributing factors are, the point is that farm attacks, virtually speaking, stopped in South Africa. Yes, there were 2 during a time frame of 2 months. So there seemed to have been something happening. And the question then is, it's quite clear that there is some form of attack that you can turn to stop these attacks from happening. The question is, where is that tap? And how do you close that tap? Because it has been done already. And then afterwards, we saw when the World Cup stopped, when it finished, farm attacks and farm murders carried on as if nothing happened. It carried on at the same rate. And that's something that's particularly alarming. And there are other cases as well of people committing hate speech and farm attacks and farm murders increasing. So it is a matter of concern.
Okay, thirdly, racial discrimination. Despite the end of apartheid, racial discrimination still exists in South Africa. Afrikaners often face verbal insults, microaggressions, and systemic racism in various aspects of life, including the workplace and social interactions. Fourthly, Black Economic Empowerment, or the BBBEE laws. These laws were introduced to address historical inequalities, but some Afrikaners feel they have resulted in reverse discrimination. BBBEE policies require businesses to meet certain quotas for Black ownership, Black management, and workforce representation, which make it difficult for Afrikaners to find and retain employment.
The BBBEE requirements make it such that race is an important measure of whether or not you get the contract, right? And race has nothing to do with things like bridges being built, at least bridges being built competently. So why make it a requirement for doing business or for obtaining a government contract? I think we should look at value for money procurement rather than making race a prerequisite for whether or not you get government contracts.
So in other words, the newly installed African National Congress was not interested in implementing a system based on equal rights for all races. That was the little secret that, we weren't told about. Instead, with the backing of Western academics, they were going to start practicing equity. They were going to be a laboratory for critical race theory shortly before it would take hold in the United States. And of course, that meant redistributing land and housing and money on the basis of race. It meant using the law to punish white people. And they did exactly that. In fact, the number of race-based laws is now higher than it was at any other point in South Africa's history. It's higher than it ever was during apartheid. Only this time around, the laws were intended to exact racial vengeance on whites.
Economic disparities between different racial groups persist in South Africa. Afrikaners, like other white South Africans, may face challenges in accessing equal economic opportunities and resources. Then our language and education. Afrikaans-speaking schools have faced pressure to transition to English. This change can undermine cultural heritage and make it harder for Afrikaans-speaking students to receive education in their mother tongue. Following are two clips, one at a primary school and one at a secondary school, where we can see this pressure and blatant discrimination and violence.
Don't show me something balancing now when you came here in masses. Show me something in the school.
I would like to
show me something in. If they want to say that there's accusations of racism here, it's fine, say it, but then come with the proof, please. Come with police cases, come with written documents and all that. Come with that. It's easy to stand and say it's just racism. You know what the big problem is, ne? If the people come here, if they have grievances, come and have a civil conversation. Don't come with chains and want to lock and tell us that we're going to go inside. Because that's what they said. They said they were going to go inside. And this thing of people standing here singing songs about killing white people.
What are they denying?
ANC member, are you denying that Kill the Boer, Kill the Farm is not being singing? Are you denying it? We've got hundreds of videos and evidence of that.
So we are all fighting a system. But what we are doing is we're making it a racial slur. They say that they are talking about things that happened. I did not see the evidence, so I cannot speak on it. I do agree that it doesn't help that we yell and shout and scream and call each other names. We're fighting the same battle. We're fighting education for our kids. That is what we're fighting. I am here today because if anything happens, I'm going to get my kid because his safety is my priority. I think it's easy to yell racism. I think it's easy to say, to blame other factors when we have to say, how can we fix the department? How do we get a solution to get everyone registered on the same platform at the same time? We all have to go through the same process. The government places the kids. We don't place our children. We don't walk in and we say, this is your class. The government places the kids. We need to fix the system.
This morning we are outside the Centenary Secondary School in Durban. A large number of parents and caregivers have arrived at the school this morning, hoping to be addressed by the school's principal. This comes after violent clashes erupted outside the school yesterday, forcing the closure or the early closure of the school. It's unclear exactly what caused the fights. However, according to people who spoke to IRL on the basis of anonymity, the fight stemmed from racial tensions between the learners.
As well as discrimination and violence at universities. There have been reports of violence and discrimination against white students on university campuses. These incidents contribute to a sense of alienation and insecurity among Afrikaner students. Following is a clip where the EFF refuses to allow any white South African students to enter the campus, saying only black students are allowed.
We don't only black students. Only black students enter. Only black students. Go back.
Oh my God.
Only black students.
Oh my God. Sure. Hectic.
Social tensions. Social tensions and occasional violence targeting Afrikaners, other white minorities, or the so-called European settlers, farmers and farm workers alike have been reported. These incidents contribute to a sense of insecurity and fear among Afrikaners and have intensified feelings of vulnerability and discrimination. And then number 9, the overall crime statistics in South Africa. The overall crime rates in South Africa have been on the rise. South Africa has a high rate of sexual offences, with 43,037 reported cases of rape in the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Such high levels of sexual violence contribute to a pervasive sense of insecurity. Gauteng recorded the highest number with 8,811 cases, followed by KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape. In the same year, there were 6,289 murders, 13,205 other sexual offences, and 6,192 attempted murders, highlighting the significant crime problem in the country. Disturbingly, South Africa also faces a disturbingly high number of infant rape cases. In fact, South Africa is the so-called infant rape capital of the world. These crimes are particularly heinous and have long-lasting impacts on the victims and their families. Child abduction remains a significant concern, with many cases going unreported and unresolved. Human trafficking is another critical issue, with victims often being exploited for labor or sexual purposes. Drug smuggling continues to be a challenge, with various substances being trafficked across the borders. These statistics highlight the ineffective measures and incompetence of law enforcement to combat these crimes and protect the vulnerable. These crime statistics only enhances the fear, insecurity and vulnerability of South African citizens, including the minority Afrikaner people. This was the crime statistics for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. On the screen, I also displayed the statistics for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. So for the Afrikaner, what is the pros and cons of accepting and applying for refugee status and resettlement in the USA. Let's look at the pros. Safety and security. For those facing real threats, the US could offer a safer environment. The US has a strong legal system and law enforcement which can provide a sense of security. Secondly, economic opportunities. The US has a strong economy with more job opportunities. Afrikaners could find better paying jobs and improved living standards. Thirdly, family reunification. The possibility to bring family members along could be a significant advantage. The US allows for family reunification, which can help maintain family unity. The cons: legal complexity. The refugee application process is complex and requires meeting strict criteria. Applicants must demonstrate a well-founded fear of persecution based on race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. Secondly, uncertain future. Future US administrations could change policies affecting long-term stability. The current offer is dependent on the current administration's policies, which could change with new leadership. Thirdly, cultural adjustment. Moving to a new country involves significant cultural adjustments and potential challenges. Adapting to a new culture, language, and way of life can be difficult and stressful. So, building a case for Afrikaners leaving South Africa for the refugee status in the USA. Should Afrikaners in South Africa consider President Trump's offer to apply for refugee status in the USA? Let's dive into the reasons why some might choose to leave South Africa. Safety and security concerns. One of the most pressing reasons for seeking refuge in the USA is the severe safety and security concerns in South Africa. Over the past 30 years, there have been numerous reports of violent attacks and murders targeting white farmers. These incidents are often accompanied by incomprehensible acts of violence, including rape and torture. Secondly, economic opportunities. The economic landscape in South Africa is challenging for many Afrikaners due to Black Economic Empowerment Laws, or BBBEE. In contrast, the USA offers a robust economy with diverse job opportunities and the potential for better paying jobs and improved living standards. Thirdly, preserving cultural heritage. By relocating to the USA, Afrikaners could have the opportunity to maintain their cultural identity and pass it on to future generations without pressures. Fourthly, protection from discrimination and violence. Reports of violence and discrimination against white students at university and social tensions targeting Afrikaners contribute to a sense of alienation and insecurity. The USA, with its strong legal system and emphasis on individual rights, could provide a more equitable environment where Afrikaners can pursue education and professional growth without fear of discrimination or violence. Fifthly, family reunification and support. The possibility of family reunification is another significant advantage. The USA's immigration policies allow for family members to join refugees, helping maintain family unity and providing essential support during the transition to a new country. Building a case for Afrikaners remaining in South Africa. Then let's dive into the reasons some might choose to stay. Number one, commitment to change and progress. Staying in South Africa allows Afrikaners to be part of the solution and work towards positive change. By remaining, Afrikaners can contribute to rebuilding the nation, fostering unity, and addressing the very issues that have caused concern. Change is often driven by those who choose to stay and fight for a better future. Cultural heritage and identity. South Africa is home to a rich cultural heritage and strong sense of identity for Afrikaners. Leaving the country could mean losing a deep connection to their roots, traditions, and history. Staying allows Afrikaners to preserve and celebrate their culture within the broader South African context. Community support and solidarity. Remaining in South Africa means staying close to family, friends, and community members who provide essential support and solidarity. The sense of belonging and the strength drawn from a tight-knit community can be a powerful motivator to face challenges together. Economic potential. Despite the challenges, South Africa still offers economic opportunities. Afrikaners can leverage their skills, education, and entrepreneurial spirit to create businesses and drive economic growth. By contributing to the local economy, Afrikaners can help build a more prosperous and inclusive South Africa. Fifthly, legal and cultural challenges of relocating. Relocating to the USA as a refugee involves navigating complex legal processes and facing significant cultural adjustments. The refugee application process is stringent and uncertain, with no guarantees of acceptance. Adapting to a new culture, language, and way of life can be difficult and stressful, potentially leading to feelings of isolation and alienation. Number 6, commitment to future generations. By staying in South Africa, Afrikaners can work towards creating a better future for the next generation. This involves addressing social, economic, and political challenges head-on and paving the way for a more just and equitable society. The commitment to future generations can be a powerful motivator for staying and making a change. 7. Overcoming adversity. Throughout history, Afrikaners have demonstrated resilience and the ability to overcome adversity. By staying and addressing current challenges, Afrikaners can continue this legacy of strength and perseverance. Working together with other South Africans, they can contribute to a more united and prosperous nation. As an Afrikaner, the decision to leave South Africa and seeking refuge in the USA, or the decision to stay in South Africa, is deeply personal and complex. It is about weighing the risks and benefits, considering both the immediate safety and long-term implications. President Trump's offer presents an opportunity for a fresh start, free from threats and discrimination currently faced in South Africa. On the other hand, by staying, Afrikaners has the opportunity to be part of the solution, preserve the cultural heritage, and work towards a brighter future for themselves and future generations. What do you think? Should Afrikaners stay and fight for change, or consider seeking refuge elsewhere? My personal perspective, as an Afrikaner, this decision is deeply personal. For myself as a white South African Afrikaner with a wife and 2 children, trying to build a life on a micro-scale suburban farmstead, there are many factors to consider. Given the high levels of violent crime, including farm attacks that often involve rape, torture, and murder, my family's immediate safety would be a primary concern. With the statistics of crime, rape, and human trafficking in South Africa being alarmingly high, the potential for harm is a significant risk. Considering the economic challenges posed by Black Economic Empowerment, or BEE, and the difficulty in finding stable employment, the USA could offer better economic opportunities. The potential for a better paying job and improved living standards could ensure a more secure future for my family. However, preserving our cultural heritage and maintaining a connection to our roots is also important. Leaving South Africa might mean losing a deep connection to our cultural identity and community. Staying in South Africa means remaining close to family and friends who provide essential support and solidarity. The sense of belonging and the strength drawn from a tight-knit community cannot be overlooked. It is crucial to consider the long-term implications for my children. Staying might offer them the chance to be part of a positive change and build a better future for themselves and future generations in South Africa. However, the USA might offer them the opportunity for a better education and a successful career based on their ability, their work ethic, and ambition, without the fear of discrimination, violence, and alienation. Moving to the USA involves navigating complex legal processes and facing significant cultural adjustments. Adapting to a new way of life could be stressful and challenging. However, this might be a small sacrifice to pay for one's safety, security, and equality. In conclusion, if I were to base my decision purely on ensuring immediate safety and economic stability for my family, seeking refuge in the USA might be the best option. However, the decision to stay and contribute to building a better future for South Africa and preserving our cultural heritage holds immense value as well. Ultimately, it's a deeply personal decision that involves weighing the risks and the benefits, considering both the immediate safety and long-term implications. Whatever choice is made, the support of family, friends, and community is invaluable. Each option has its own set of challenges and rewards, and it's important to carefully consider all factors before making such a significant decision. What do you think? Should Afrikaners take this opportunity? Or is it better to stay and fight for a change in South Africa? I want to use this opportunity to thank you for watching, and I'm really interested in your opinion and your thoughts as well regarding this issue. We would really love to hear from you. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and let me know if you actually enjoyed this content. Like I said, I'm not one to necessarily post political driven content, but yeah, if you enjoyed it, please let me know. And if you would like to see more content like this or have more discussions around this topic, thank you for spending time with me. God bless you, and I love you. Goodbye.